We are back. We had taken some pee breaks and got some drinks, and we are back to outside the garrison as our party successfully kind of took some stuff from the Queen's Park Garden, and then also including Eldritch lilies and some other valuables that they found in where the Queen, former Queen, appeared to be sleeping. They were also able to take down a couple of haze hulks they encountered in the city with relative ease. But now, as they approach the outer gates of the garrison, they see Hooded Lantern, low rank. What's the low rank again? Private.
Yeah.
Harry out there with a group of, it looks to be 12 armed spearmen, and they salute Donovan as you guys approach. The one in the front, he approaches you. Spear in hand, shield down, and he goes, "My king, we come from Geldstadt, from the mayor, the Duke of Geldstadt, Sir Ivan Geldstadt, heard of your glorious return to the city of Drakkenheim, and we are here as a show of good faith to restore you to your proper throne." And he kneels on one knee. The ground.
Would I know who that is, or is this
yes,
okay?
The Geldstadt, the town of Geldstadt, and the dukes and duchesses of Geldstadt have been incredibly loyal to the Von Kessels, and when the Civil War happened, they were incredibly loyal to your father. They fought on your father's side.
Okay.
And they are very renowned for their skills with a spear, and in their shield walls. And one-on-one warriors, together though they are quite
like
potent.
The Spartans in the Unsullied, basically.
They would make a good, I believe it's called vanguard. Is that the middle? Like the middle when people a vanguard in the middle, or is that wrong?
I think the vanguard's out front, right? They're like the forward troops. The middle would probably be.
They make a good anchor, like in the middle of it, to post where you could like move troops around, and like they could take a good beating, like a charge if somebody came through that.
They're really good against cavalry.
Yeah,
they can hold their position, and if cavalry try to attack them, like they're gonna get stabbed in the process. So.
Yeah, okay. And this is a platoon, so basically they sent you a. That'd be right. Platoon of 12.
Yeah, like a squad.
A squad.
Yeah.
They've sent you to show you good faith.
Okay.
And he goes, "My name is Sergeant Green, and I'm here at your service."
Sergeant Green.
And that stat block I sent you in the email, that's what to use for them, all except. Let me go here. I don't want you to use the shield bash because I don't like the last part of that where it says the citizen hostile may immediately make an attack with its short sword.
Okay.
You can use the shield bash to knock people prone, but I don't like the idea of like spear hand
and then switch
that
to
seems
a sword.
like a lot.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot. So
okay.
As we approach, I look over to our king and just look to you to be like, do you recognize the duke that they? Because I'm not as familiar with the outskirts.
Okay. Right.
So I asked, I look to you. Are you familiar with these?
Yeah.
To see if these are trusted friends or foe.
I'll let the party know that I need to write that Geldstadt.
Geldstadt. Yep.
Geldstadt. That the people of Geldstadt were incredibly loyal to my family during the Civil War, so these people can be trusted. I'll kind of like lift Sergeant Green up by his like forearm. Your help will be much appreciated in the coming weeks and months. We appreciate you being here.
However, we can serve you, Your Grace. I do not know where you wish us to station. I understand from speaking with Captain Petra and Captain Ansel and dealing with Private Harry here that room is quite crowded. that we may need to set up camp outside of the city to avoid the contamination from the delirium while we rest. Would you like us to make a camp outside of the city and come and report to you on a daily basis? Would you like us to try to find lodging in Emberwood Village?
How?
And anybody can jump in on this.
I was going to say, like, how many troops do we currently have in our garrison, and how many can we accommodate?
Show in the garrison below level, like out of the haze. You can, if you really stretch it, 180, like 150 comfortably, but you can stash 180. You currently have about 250 hooded lanterns, and how you've been accommodating the rotations is
A third of the day.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, so
Okay.
at most, I mean, comfortably, like 450 men at one time, probably, if you're doing a third of them in rotations, right? 150 down below.
yeah. But the total number you have is about 250, and
How
the
many
most
are at the gate right now?
are at the gate right now. So to hold Shepherd's Gate, it takes 50 men is like the preferred amount.
Well, how many spearmen do we have here?
Spearman
We're
right in
trying to
front of
see
you. 12.
then how. All right, then I also offer like a greeting to them and say, any supporters of the king is a supporter of ours. We serve the king, and we welcome you to our garrison. How many men total do you have beyond just the platoon you've sent?
Sir Ivan Geldstad, or Duke Ivan Geldstad, sent us to be a preliminary envoy. He knew that lodging in Drakkenheim is a precarious endeavor, so he did not want to overwhelm you with reinforcements. So right now there's 12 of us total, including myself, and Sir Ivan Geldstad could potentially send one or two more dozen spearmen, but it would take a little bit of time, a couple weeks travel.
Understood. For the time being, we could probably accommodate you here at our garrison.
Excellent.
I was thinking that or the clock tower. How many people can fit in the clock
The
tower?
cap does, like,
6?
six.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that'd
yeah.
be too
I wouldn't
much.
split them up personally.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I couldn't
would
remember.
say let's have them here and then we can
Yeah.
take advantage. Like if they want to send more forces, that'd be great. We could definitely use their help.
The
With
the Silver Order definitely saw use of building a garrison right outside the haze, but close enough that they could deploy into Drakkenheim. Something like that might be beneficial as our forces increase.
Especially if they're going to be bringing a dozen or 2 dozen more. They could set up a little
Right.
encampment there.
Sorry. I think maybe we should do that once we claim the next gate. Maybe it'll be beneficial to have a garrison off
Ooh.
of that new gate.
Well, that gate's not outside of the haze, right?
It could have a spot like, if it does
Oh,
have a spot like that.
You're right, it could potentially.
They could. That's the thing. You don't know
Yeah,
what the other gates
right.
hold. Yep.
Yeah.
well, let us let's take this conversation to chambers and welcome our guests into the garrison.
Sergeant Green says, "Thank you, Lord Commander." He goes, "Our travel is weary. The roads are perilous in Westamar. Bandits of such that bothered us a little, but we are easily able to dispatch and make them run away."
Yeah, I looked to their private escort. You said who was with them at the time?
Harry, Private Harry.
I looked to Harry and I say, see that these men are taken care of and are fed and given a place to sleep for the night.
Excellent, Lord Commander. It will be done. I will take them to the hall, and we will give them food and ale, and we will find them accommodations below.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Also, Your Grace and Lord Commander, you have company in your private quarters. He would not wait outside of the gates. The Knight Commander of the Silver Order arrived while you were away, and word is that Eldridge Runeweaver, the head mage, or one of the head mages of the Council of the Academy, is waiting for you at the Red Lion Motel in Emberwood Village. He says there's word that he won't come to the garrison for whatever reason.
I can understand their being cautious. I appreciate the information. We'll get with the Knight Commander and discuss with him about potentially meeting maybe in the village then.
Okay. Do you go to your quarters? That's where I'm trying to communicate with the Knight Commander.
Yeah, let us go to the quarters and discuss it then.
And he tells you Elias Drexel has been keeping him company, and I think he is keeping a watchful eye on him. So, that's what he says. As you go to the quarters, let me go here. How did I use your quarters? Yeah, we're just gonna use the skull and sword for now. Oh, and let me get your map over there. Sorry, Idris, give me a second.
No, it's all good.
Alright, we're gonna... I think this is what I use for your quarters, and it'll work for now. There's a table there at the... Oh, this was the hall. Give me a second. I think I might have something different for your quarters. Give me just one moment. Nah, that'll work for now. I'm not going to make a new map on the fly.
Well, on the way up, I want to discuss with you,
Sure.
should we have
Go
like
ahead.
a private meeting with the Knight Commander prior to meeting with the representative of Amethyst Academy, or should we try to put this all out in the public between the two other factions, like everything discussed?
There is bad blood between them. So there could be a benefit of meeting them individually, but if we're going to be discussing important things that need to be shared between all three factions.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we want to talk to them at the same time. I don't
Also,
know.
it's going to depend on if the Knight Commander even is willing to travel to Embroil.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that we can meet with him, discuss what kind of plans we had for them involving gate, what was it, 2 down there? Or no, that was, let's see, 1, we're 2, I think that was
back up.
4.
Yeah, because...
I think it was 4 that they were interested in.
4...
3 is occupied by the
Falling
Fire.
Fire. 2's unknown, but we're thinking that it was the Queen of Thieves
4
might
is what
have
they were
it.
interested in. Okay. 4 is what they were interested in. Fallen Fire has 3. We don't know anything about 2, but I suspect the Queen may have something to do with that. We're at 5, and we were considering taking 1. 1's up north.
And that's near the Unscrupulous, or
Tower, yes.
whatever it's called. So we were thinking that might be good for the Amethyst Academy.
If they would be interested.
Yeah.
We could have a shared quarters there that they could do their research, and we could try to help them with escorting to and from the garden maybe. But that's something I want to discuss with the counselor from the Amethyst Academy. For now, we could potentially just have a discussion with the Knight Commander regarding Gate 4 then.
Yeah.
See if they want to do if they're willing to cooperate to overtaking that gate, and in exchange we cohabitate the gate. And of course, they would have access to this gate as allies. As our allies, if they need to move troops this way, we would coordinate that too.
Yeah, I say we just meet with them and see
individually. Then.
Yeah. See what he says.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll go in then to speak with the Knight Commander regarding what benefits are if we can have a future alliance together and try to work together to restoring Drakkenheim.
Okay. As you guys walk into the Lord Commander's chamber, you can hear the unmistakable voice of Elias Drexel go, "Well, he's a proven and fierce warrior, and he's reliable, and the men have their full faith in him." And you hear this kind of southern draw, thick accent go, "The great Elias Drexel replaced by a pup. Well, I'll be damned." And that's when you walk into the room and you see Ansel and Petra, okay, Elias Drexel, and a huge guy's like 6'5", full plate armor. He has on his back not only like a huge shield, right, but a great sword that goes back. So it's like you put the great sword on, then you put the shield on. That you presume if he has a shield there, he's only going to be able to wield that with one hand. And it's beautiful, coated in the flame armor with a great cloak, black cloak over the back. And next to him is somebody you haven't seen in quite a while, actually since I think session 1, since we first started recording. Flamekeeper Hannah, who seems to be sitting there a little uneasy, kind of like taking little sips out of her drink. Clearly uncomfortable in such a meeting. And then, as you open the door, everyone turns to you, and Theodore Marshall gets up from his chair and looks at you and says, "Well, my, this must be the king that they all keep talking about." And he bows, and he goes, "Well, Your Grace, my name is Theodore Marshall. I am the Knight Commander of the Silver Order. It is a pleasure to meet you."
Is it Theodore? I thought it was Theo.
Theo Good. Theo
Okay,
Good
yeah,
Marshall,
I
sorry.
thought I was
Theodore is
going
somebody
crazy.
I work
Okay.
with. Sorry. Theo Good Marshall.
Yeah,
Theo
okay.
Good Marshall. He says, "Well, it is a pleasure to meet you."
It's very nice to meet you too, Knight Commander.
Knight Commander.
Knight Commander
Knight
Marshall.
with a K.
Yeah.
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 He goes, "Hell, I hope there's no hard feelings between you and I. As you know, I did fight alongside your aunt in the Civil War. 'Twas a long time ago. With the way that Elias speaks about you now, and it looks like the way you've got things heading in the right direction here, I would be more than happy to lend you my blade and the blades of those of the Silver Order, as long as we keep those mages out of the equation." Ha ha ha.
And I'll
I like shuffle.
He scowls at you.
Put
Give
your
me a
wizard
perception check. Actually, no, I'm gonna do something here. Hold on. I roll a fucking intimidation check for him, and it's a fucking crit.
I rolled an 18 on whatever, but if it's a crit, I probably don't beat it.
You.
Although I do have good charisma. What am I rolling?
It was just a general check. It was just
okay.
he doesn't like you.
Okay.
Okay.
I give him a shy little wink.
He scowls at you, seeing he can innately tell that you're a Silver. But he looks at the rest of you and he goes, "I've heard that your small council or small group of traveling companions are quite handy in a back alley fight." And he goes, "I've heard you're quite the warrior king. You like to deal with things yourself instead of sending your troops."
Yeah, I'm not one for sending men into places that I would not go myself. So yes, I do like to be more hands-on than your typical king, I guess.
He goes, "Well, I do like that. I am myself I lead by example, and I lead at the front of the pack. I believe if you can't do the job yourself, you shouldn't ask men to sacrifice their lives to do it. So I'm glad that we're on the same page with that." Does anybody else want to get a word in edgewise here?
I agree.
Yeah, I'd like.
So go ahead.
What
Andrew.
happened?
No, he just says, "I agree," like he's being facetious, Felix.
Yeah, I just say by the grace of the roaring flame, Hannah. Hello, how do you find yourself here in this meeting of important men? I kind of like scoot over to her and maybe like whisper a bit.
Yeah. She's delighted to see you. She kind of grabs your hand softly He goes, Idris, it is so good to see you. I have heard of your many adventures since the last time I've seen you. I hope you're well. That the flame has protected you and guided you in all your adventures.
Well, you know it keeps the soul pure.
She says, yes, I am. The Lord Commander asked me as the highest ranking member of the church to accompany him, as he says, there is no blade without the faith, and there is no faith without the blade. So he asked me to accompany him here. I am not quite used to this. Truth be told, I'd rather be back in the chapel or out on the streets of Emberwood helping the sick and the poor. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here. And she kind of chuckles.
I feel that way a lot.
She kind of chuckles like uneasy.
I pat her on the back and I say, sometimes the flame calls us to do things we didn't know we were ready for.
That is so
signed
true.
up with all.
She says, so true and so wise. I'm just glad to see, the last time that we talked was that unfortunate deal with the rats, with the ratlings. But I'm glad
those cursed creatures.
I'm glad to see her. And Flamekeeper Reed, the flame bless her soul. But I'm glad to see that you and your companions are well. With that, if you don't mind, Idris, the Knight Commander turns to you, Dash, and goes, so this is the pup who calls himself the Lord Commander. And he gives you a big slap on the back. He goes, nice to meet you. Theodore Marshall goes to shake your hand. Theodore, sorry.
Reach my hand. Lord Commander Dash, barking for duty.
Barking for laughs hard at that. And he goes, Elias tells me you're quite handy with the bow and quite good with tactical affairs.
I've learned from the best. I believe Drudge was quite valuable to us in the Civil War, and he was my mentor.
That man was the most dangerous man with a crossbow I'd ever seen in my life. I fought against him in 2 battles. I was lucky to be able to walk out with my own life. If we would have crossed direct paths, I don't know if I would have. And he goes, God, may the flame rest his soul.
I appreciate you paying respect to the one guy that was the closest thing to a father to me.
He was a good man. He goes, well, I've heard that the mage is in town, and he noticeably ignores you, Felix. He noticeably, he addresses everyone. Oh, and Idris, he hasn't come up to you yet. Sorry, let me get there. He crosses over you and goes to Idris, and he goes, the man with the magic shadow. He goes, I have heard quite a bunch about you as well, and a man of the faith, from what I understand.
Indeed, Sir Marshall. I try to uphold the tenets of the flame as best I can, as best as any man can in these trying times and places.
I've only heard of the ability that you have from one other in our order, and it is quite a rare feat that you have. He said,
and I ask him, do you mean Cornelius? And I kind of pop Cornelius up beside me, and he's kind of like just dimly gold.
Let me get him.
And I say, or do you mean like this? And I like use thaumaturgy to just like make some differently colored flames pop up.
Let me pop him up by there. There we go. And I'll kind of move you over a little bit. Yes, he goes, yes, that would be the one that I'm referring to. I'd be quite interested when there's more time to pick your brain about the talent that it takes to control, or however it works, with your shadowy friend.
And I pat him on the shoulder and I say, me too, man, me too.
Yeah. Watch the armor. In jokes, he goes, so, are we bringing the mage to us, or are we gonna have to go visit old Rune Weaver at his fancy hotel.
Unfortunately, I don't think he finds the garrison to be as accommodating, so I think he wants us to go to his fancy hotel.
Meeting mages on their own term. Well, I suppose it's gotta be done. Or ask you this, do you guys want to rest at all and do it in the morning, or what are you guys kind of thinking?
We could. I mean, he is waiting. We could always rest at the hotel too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would accommodate you.
Yeah.
Being the king
We
and
wanna-
royal party.
Yeah. Want to have a late night meeting for the future of Drakkenheim and then call it a day?
Sure.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, let me get everybody. Hold up. I just want to get it all where I can pull you in and copy and paste. Elias approaches you and says, Lord Commander, may I have your ear for a moment?
Always.
He steps aside. He goes, I believe it would undermine your authority if I were to join you for this meeting.
Understood.
So I believe it would be, and of course I will join you if you wish, but I think it would show more respect if they don't. I have dealt with these two individuals in their egos for many years now. I would not call us friends. Of course, Thea Marshall and I fought on opposite sides of a war, but it would be best for you, I believe, to garner their full attention and have me stay back and man the garrison.
Of course. I appreciate your efforts, and any knowledge that I acquire will be divulged to you when I return.
Excellent. Of course, you don't have to divulge that information, but I would be very interested to see how things transpire.
In order to make the most use of your tactful mind, I think having the most information is beneficial.
Cool. All right, let's get you now.
Are we leaving?
If you want, what do you want?
Before we leave, I want to step up, like, chest to chest with the good marshal, and I will look him square in the eye, and I say, someday, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, I'm gonna win you over.
Maybe. Give me a charisma check.
Performance maybe?
With advantage, because I wasn't expecting that.
Wait, is it a specific, like, persuasion, just straight charisma?
Just give me a persuasion check.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 12, but I do have, so it's plus 7, so it's 19.
He pauses, and he goes, I doubt it, little mage, but we'll see. Why don't you go hide in your towers and let the real men talk?
Will do. And I step away.
Please don't hit me with your sword.
Yeah, no, really.
Alright. Oh, why does he keep doing that? Let me move him. Maybe that's why that's doing that.
Kind of want to mention, I'll have you know, this man took a direct attack from the king himself and survived.
I didn't even die.
They're all gonna be like, what?
Coughs up some blood.
I could have, but I didn't.
So, for the sake of time, we are going to...
On the way, we didn't see anything out of the ordinary. Since we're meeting on neutral ground, we didn't see an uptake in any other troops or anything kind of stationed around or anything that would raise suspicion, right?
Theo Good does mention he brought 50 more men with him to Camp Dawn. Hardened men. But that would be the only uptick. And you could tell the road, so you're traveling in kind of a large party with some pretty scary looking people. So the monsters are probably going to stay at bay that aren't completely fucking whacked out, like crazy,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a Lord Commander, I've got to be mindful that we still have the Queen's Men as an enemy, and I just got to make sure that the Amethyst Academy isn't trying to pull a fast one or anything like that. Like they don't have any.
No, you don't get that.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't get that impression. With it being at the Red Lion Motel, this So this is like, it's an insult in the sense to Theogood. Like, I'm too good to meet you on your territory, but it's not an insult to you because he's not asking you to meet him at an academy location.
Gotcha.
He's saying meet me on neutral grounds, but fuck you, Marshall.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But he did offer. He did offer to go, even though obviously he's not happy about it.
Right.
He's not a fan of the mages, but he seems open to discussing. I'm hoping that means that he's willing to. What was the document again? That
Lost him all day.
The edict of them.
The Edicts of Lumen.
The Edicts of Lumen.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's. If we try to reestablish the our government and everything, that he's willing to adhere back to that. But that doesn't guarantee it. He may just want to come and insult him.
The name of the guy that we're meeting in the
Eldritch Runeweaver.
is that his name?
Eldritch Runeweaver.
His name is Eldritch.
Yeah, Eldritch.
Born name Eldritch.
Yeah, or it might be Eldrick. Eldrick Runeweaver.
Eldritch, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I get those two confused.
No, that's fine. I was just like Eldritch Blast. Remover?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that would be dope. All right. Who do we want to use for Eldrick? Who do we
I
want?
guess
to
it
use?
could be like a
I'm gonna use Red Guy. I know Red Guy's a warrior, but he stands out. As you guys cross into Emberwood Village, there is an uptick in Silver Order men walking around. Everyone give me a perception check.
Whatever.
12 for me.
28.
Just a.
Okay. You're just like oblivious.
I'm
as you walk around.
I have a
the
plus
world.
0 when I make perception checks.
You're like as you walk around the world in a blind arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
I still imagine you
I'm
in the
thinking about other
corner,
stuff.
like sad that this
Go
guy
ahead,
doesn't
Andrew.
like you.
Right.
You got a 9.
I
All
would
of
say,
you can. Oh, sorry. Go
Sorry, I was gonna say I would say I'm probably also getting like noticeably quieter the closer we get to the end. I'm not happy to be here either.
All of you can tell that the streets are eerily quiet. Like, usually they're at this time of day, it's getting towards late evening. There's still hustle and bustle trade going on. People are rowdy at local pubs. There's commerce transpiring. There's like, doors are shut. There's no foot travel really going on. And as you guys walk by, the doors that are open shut quickly, and women or men issue their children in like, come inside now. And you can notice that Theogood is accustomed to this as he walks with a proud arrogance. As you guys walk into the Red Lion Motel, there's two just regular, not bandits, but just regular guys sitting at the pub, and Brandy's there. But in that back corner table sits a tall, slender, gray hair and gray bearded man. He has the finest velvet purple robes endued with something you just can't tell. And as he scoots his chair back and stands up as your party walks in, you can't help but notice 9 fingers on his rings. One of them is doubled up, right? So remember, the rings are a symbol of Academy power and how high of spell casting you have. And he looks over as you all walk in, and Theogood and him just lock eyes. And he goes, well, actually, take it away. Actually, let me tell you this before you do, Andrew.
Yep.
He tells the two men, he goes, gentlemen, here's for your drinks and that delicious chicken you had. Flicks the gold coin. Be on your way. And they scoot out. Now you take him. Take him over. I'll do it. I'll do this here. Feel Good looks at you from across the way and says, Eldritch, seeing you again it's far too soon since the last time I've seen you.
Too soon, Knight Commander. I thought we'd be on better terms here now with the return of the rightful king and all.
Yeah, that's until your mage lies pour into his ears.
No doubt that all words from the mouth of a mage sounds like a lie to someone ready to serve them death at the end of the blade.
And you guys can interact at any point. And I just want you guys to think it's not just a dialogue between it and him. Brandy's behind the bar and she's like cleaning the same spot over and over again. She's just like fuck.
I'm about to pay for a whole new motel.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We're not here to dredge up those old troubles, are we? We're here to hear the word of the king.
He goes, I'll listen to whatever the new king has to say, but I, of course, have to protect what I think is right and what the Silver Order thinks is right with what appears to be the coming of a new age of Drakkenheim and Westamar.
Indeed, a new age for all humanity.
So you're playing Theo Good and he's playing Eldrick.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to step forward and just offer a hand to, because I don't think I've ever met Counselor Runeskeeper.
No, I don't think you have either.
Okay. I want to just kind of present a greeting to Counselor Runeskeeper. It's a
Rune
pleasure.
Weaver.
Rune
Yeah,
Weaver.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I told you my character's bad with names.
No, you're fine. It's a hard name to get.
Yeah. Counselor Rune Weaver. I'm the Lord Commander of the Lanterns. My name is Dash. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard a little about you, but not a lot. But I hope that we could work together in the days to come. And if I may present to you, our rightful king, I hope that we can discuss further in this meeting.
Did you catch that?
And he reaches out and takes your hand, but you can tell there's a bit of not disdain, but a bit of arrogance in the way he looks at you as he takes and shakes your hand firmly, but it's a bit of a down the nose look.
Theo Good.
And he says, good day, it's good to meet you too as well, new Lord Commander.
Theo Good notices, picks up, and goes, I thought we'd be dealing with Elias too, just like the good old days. It looks like we've got new blood running the lanterns.
Indeed, maybe that means there'll be a bit of progressive thought, and Eldrick kind of, gives an extra shake to Dash's hand as they separate.
Okay. King?
Yeah. Well, you all know why we're here. We need to discuss the future of Drakkenheim and making it safe and habitable. That's a hard word again.
Well, that's an easy solve, Your Majesty, Theo Good says. You just need to get rid of all those delirium, kill all them monsters. You'll have yourself a right old city.
There's also the Queen of Thieves.
Well, we do agree on...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to bring up the Queen of Thieves and the fact that we still think she's around. And she will be quite the troublesome foe.
Go ahead, Eldritch. Yeah, Eldritch.
He takes a deep sigh as Theogood speaks about destroying all the delirium. And as you kind of remark about the Queen of Thieves, he takes a moment to put his hand to his chin and thinks for a second and says, the Queen has definitely lost a good amount of whatever resources she obtained in your strike on Buckle Down Row. I'm also glad to hear that you were successful due to our magical intervention in completing your missions there.
Yes, because the Amethyst Academy was a fantastic help. You obviously provided a lot of military might to that siege.
Indeed, and all of the resources that the academy have developed due to the brilliance of delirium would are most certainly to be discussed about what we might do to further support the crown.
Theo good. Guessing you, I'm going to say you guys are by a table. He smacks his hand on the table and goes, "The brilliance of delirium. You mean that poison that's contaminated everyone that was in that city? Don't you see the monsters that come out of there? Don't you see the trouble that it's caused? I mean, you can't even take a dip in the Dran River without poisoning yourself to death."
And I say that's because we didn't know enough to combat it and to control it, but the Amethyst Academy has made strides in utilizing this delirium and controlling its powers and properties.
Theo good huffs. And he goes, "There." He goes, "What do you think, King?"
Well, the existing monsters need to be eliminated for sure. And if there is a way to reverse the haze and the ill effects of delirium, it might be viable to keep it around. But
If I might, is there even a known way to destroy delirium entirely?
I was gonna inquire about that myself. Knight Commander, I've noticed that in some of the prior experience by that blasphemous Oscar Bjorn, that he would often create a powder substance out of delirium. So as you destroy it, are you actually destroying it or just making it unseen into this dust that can be breathed in and cause even further damage to people?
We will. If we can't find a hammer that's big enough to not cause, to destroy it, it won't cause dust to. The flame, he's flustered, right? He's just like, he's not a man of science. The flame will destroy it, and it will be gone. He goes, anything, I have never fought a foe that I couldn't kill, and this delirium is no different.
In
Here we go again.
Oh my god. Somebody get this mage a gag.
I would say,
All I'm saying is that if you don't approach the problem with a tactful mind and the intention to understand what you're dealing with, you're going to get yourself into a lot more trouble than you otherwise would.
Steel wins battles, not talking in a whole bunch of books in your ivory towers.
I think in the absence of a definitive way to
Who are you? What are you doing here?
completely destroy, in the absence of a way to actually destroy the delirium, until we can find a way, I think it'd be best if we could quarantine it and put it all under complete control. And I make eye contact with Albert Groomweaver, under the complete control of His Majesty, of course.
referring to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Referring to you. Talking to Eldrick Greenweaver,
Yeah.
but referring to you.
So you just said you think you can contain the delirium.
Quarantine it and keep it in an environment completely under control of His Majesty.
But have the monarchy would have complete control.
Yes.
Ooh.
Basically trying to monopolize delirium under the imperial flag, or the royal banner.
Well, Your Grace, I think that the only people with the know-how to truly control and disseminate any power from delirium would be the Amethyst Academy. There's no way that mere mortals and non-mageborn could control the great power that comes from delirium.
Who would, of course, serve at the pleasure of His Majesty.
As we have always done, Your Liege.
There is no disagreement that the insightful minds of the Amethyst Academy are required to understand and fully comprehend the effects of delirium, and any future of reversing it will, of course, come from those same minds. I agree that Amethyst Academy would be critical in helping us to do so.
Well, maybe we don't want to reverse it. Think of all the innovations and the bright future that we could usher in by harnessing delirium's great power.
There is some advantages to having delirium, but mostly for weaponizing. I've only seen people incorporate it into weapons to cause contamination and further destruction to those around them. Is there no benefit to human life that we can find with delirium? This haze, is it not created from this delirium?
The magical power itself. There's no telling what kind of wonders we could power with the raw boost to magical energy that the substance provides. We've never seen anything that could multiply energy this wildly.
Let's give the king.
Your
a
Majesty,
chance.
please speak some sense here.
Mm-hmm. Figured, let's give the king a chance to weigh in on this delirium nonsense.
There may be a way to keep delirium in existence, but we will need to see that the benefits outweigh the risk of having it around.
If you want my blades to take back your crown, delirium is gonna have to go.
Where would you have it go, sir?
As we've said, do you have any form of way to actually destroy it completely, or are you just making it more of a nuisance? Because now that we can't see the rock itself, it's just dust that's floating around and contaminating further. That's our concern.
Again, he's flustered. We'll find a way to get rid of it.
I mean, is it possible that you can reverse some of the effects that it has? We've found that there are potions that can help prevent the contamination from this haze through the use, of research that we've come across.
And who made these potions?
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
What potions that can do what?
Actually, that brings me to another topic. Would you help us with developing these potions?
If I may, Lord Commander, I think that the mind in front of us is not the mind we would want helping us with important tasks.
What do you mean by that, sir? I'm the head of the operations for the Amethyst Academy in this location.
And I think under proper leadership, the Amethyst Academy could do wonderful things.
Do you have good
Who are
smiles?
you, bro?
A concerned citizen.
I would honestly,
Does he recognize them?
Eldritch, give me a, when you're trying to recognize somebody you haven't seen in a long time, perception,
Probably
insight.
perception. Insight's usually if you're trying to determine their intent.
Give me perception roll. Give me, perception's based off of what, wisdom?
Wisdom.
Yeah, perception is wisdom.
Give me
Or investigation.
plus,
Maybe.
yeah, for sure. Do a roll with a +6. Make it with advantage.
That was a 10. Roll again. Alright, 21.
So that's a 19.
That's a 19.
Or I mean 21. Sorry, you said +6.
With that roll, you begin to recognize who Felix truly is. It's
what was your other name?
Marlon Farrow.
And before, I just want to say, it's your decision if you want to bring that up here in this conversation, or if you want to make a side note for that character for a further conversation.
Well, right now it's an argument, and this would be a good thing to pull out to kind of rebut the argument. Is like trying to tear down his credibility, right?
With that, though,
It's up to.
I know
It's
this
up-
is
fully up
outside
to
a
him.
game.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
fully up to
trying
him.
to think of how
yeah.
the character would think.
Right. No, fully up to him how he wants to play it.
I think that that the importance of the matter would.
Yeah, but something that wouldn't go unnoticed. Yeah. Sorry.
He wouldn't be. He would be taken aback. His eyes would be widened. But for him, this is very much taking him by surprise. So realizing it now, he's the type of person that would take himself unprepared into a sort of, you know what I mean, unknown situation. Yeah. So he might kind of realize, and you guys can see that realization on his face, and then he sort of he takes it. Well, sir, we have a standard at the academy of choosing the brightest and the best minds to do the right work.
Eldritch's wisdom
Is
and
that something
intelligence.
that
Yeah.
you've ever been a part of?
I've heard stories.
Felix is back in the corner.
Well,
He
you
doesn't
may not
like me
know
either.
No, I don't like him. He's a piece of shit.
Did you say that in game?
No.
I don't like you.
I
You
think
piece
I
of
muttered.
shit.
I might have muttered a little bit. Like there's a shit.
Theo Good says, now, I've never been accused of being the wisest man or the smartest man. And I think I've made my piece known on where it comes to delirium. And more importantly, I am the second highest ranking member in all of the Silver Order. So I know that my views rank with those of the Silver Order themselves. He goes, I will put it in the hands of the king and his small council as to what he wishes to do with delirium. But I will have it known that if delirium is continued to be used in any capacity, we will not back your play or provide you forces, Your Highness, to take the crown of West, to sit on the throne of Drakkenheim and be the ruler of Westmar. These are my orders from the Sacred Flame, and we are here to support you in any way we can, but those are the stipulations. Delirium has to be destroyed.
Okay, out of game. 'Cause I feel like we would have discussed this.
Yeah. Cheeton.
Yeah, we would have discussed like outcomes, and we haven't.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? I am stuck here.
I will say, I probably would have said in an off note, the Silver Order has been very useful as of late. I don't know we could say the same for the Amethyst Academy.
That's kind of what I'm feeling like too.
I also...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I also think that the Amethyst Academy is interested in delirium. They don't need it. It's not it's not a requirement for them to survive, whereas the Silver Order, it's kind of like a black and white thing. Like, delirium bad, we don't like it. Whereas Amethyst Academy is like, we're interested in it, but, like, you know, not the end of the world.
We discussed before about some of the uses of delirium we didn't necessarily agree with, and that's the use in weapons and such. I mean, granted, we have those on us right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see about doing a ban on using it in any form of a weapon to see if they would agree to that. As for the use of delirium beyond that is research on how reversing the effects that it has on us as people, maybe trying to remove the haze, and if there is possible of an energy source, as long as it cannot contaminate the environment around it. But as for a weaponized use and researching as a proper way of potentially destroying it as need be, maybe we can put those on the table to see what they think.
I was thinking letting them continue their research until we can devise a plan
want
to
you
destroy
all
it.
to air your stuff. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I just want you to all to air, and Idris, you too. I want you to air out all your stuff because there are 2 points I want to make about this that we really haven't brought up in this campaign, just because the direction this campaign is taking. So, but everybody get your stuff out, and then I'm gonna run 2 things by you.
So I would say, and I hate to say the group's arcane expert, because obviously that comes with pretty heavy air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I would have suggested a situation similar to how biological like anthrax is treated today. Like we try to isolate it in one location. We can keep it in a controlled environment for study and analysis, possibly to use in potions, possibly to destroy. But until we know what we want to do with it, we would try to isolate it in one location and keep that location under our control, not running rampant as it is right now. I feel like until we know how to destroy it, that should satisfy the Silver Order, and until we can destroy it, we could further research it, which would also kind of,
Yeah.
satisfy the Amethyst Academy. Maybe we could pitch it.
That's kind of pretty much how I was leaning.
Because we don't even know how to destroy it at this point.
I still want to bring up about the gates. About trying
Yeah.
to do a cooperative attack on each gate. Maybe work with the Silver Order on one that we could cohabitate with. That way they don't have to have anything to do with the Amethyst Academy. And we'll work with the Amethyst Academy to take the other gate that's closest to their prior facility, the tower. That maybe they could do research on the tower itself. Why is floating? I'm sure they'd be interested in that. But also being the Queen's Gardens nearby, they could help us maybe with developing those potions. They have the resources that we don't. So those are the 2 things I want to cover before the end of the session tonight.
We got about 20 minutes. Yeah.
Right.
Idris, do you want to get in here?
Yeah, and I guess Idris's stance on the whole what to do with delirium thing is that he is of the faith, but we have seen, these potions do wonders for reversing those sort of contaminations and the mutations and such. So it does seem that there is some good that could come from knowing how to deal with and properly, utilize the delirium. But that the greater part of it does need to be cleaned up in some way to help the general populace. But there's definitely a benefit. We've seen the what else it can do. You know what I mean? And it is quite potent for your weapons and such. So there's something to be learned, but it definitely needs to be cleaned up in the broader sense.
That's a good point. 2 things I would point, because the nature of this campaign so far has been, you guys have, obviously your 2 storylines have been big, primary, and you guys have fought a lot of contaminated monsters, and you've seen what the delirium does to it. And you've seen small benefits of what delirium has just because of the direction of the campaign. You haven't really seen what delirium could potentially do on a large scale for it to benefit. Mm-hmm. And that could be weapons, that could be healing, that could be all sorts of spells. Just because our campaign really hasn't we only have 3 hours every week,
right.
There's only so much time. The other thing that really hasn't, outside of the smithy and the scar, is how much money delirium, like somebody who has a mass control of this, could make. And I'm not saying money would drive your decision, because money, I know you as a human being, I know it doesn't. So money's important, but it's not going to make the final decision.
We're not going to sell a bunch of plutonium to various nations next door.
Yeah, it's not going to sell
it makes money.
Yeah,
but then it could be used against us later. Why are we going to do that?
But if you were trying to rebuild a kingdom and you didn't want to subjugate yourself to getting funding from foreign powers, this could be a way to do it.
We have seen delirium used by the dwarves to make cannons and such.
Right. So you've seen it in a limited way.
So, and that didn't cause contamination, right? They were using it as an energy source, not like the blades that we have, which was contaminating. It was being used as an energy source, which is what the runes.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at.
That's trying to say.
Exactly. He's saying we've used this. If you let us show you, we've used delirium in ways to make things, not just weapons, but spells and other items that is really good. It gets really beneficial. But it does have a very dangerous downside. You see it when you go into the city every time.
So this is
So
kind of like
that's the way out, right?
kind of like uranium. Like uranium is bad as it is because of the radiation and stuff that it can produce. But if you use it, I mean, even though the nuclear waste from like nuclear plants is not great,
Mhm.
it
Relatively clean.
I mean, if you could store it properly and away from people where it won't contaminate anything, the half-life of it over time will make it where it's safe again, and you get to develop energy that doesn't have like air pollution and such.
So, are we getting back in game now?
If you still, yeah, it's
I
just.
don't know. You guys want to come up with like a plan? Because I feel like if I just make a decision,
Right.
like
So,
I mean,
But you're the king, so you don't
yeah.
have to make a decision. You could just be like, "Fuck you both. I'm gonna decide what I want to decide when I want to decide it." You know.
But at the same time, he wants the support of both of them. Doesn't
Yeah.
want one of the factions
Pretty-
to turn against us later.
yeah,
we could say we're trying to rid the city of Delirium, which we are.
yeah,
The effects of delirium. Let's
Yeah.
word it properly.
yeah, and
Because may not be trying to get rid of delirium, but if you say the effects of it, he may take that as as a positive thing without realizing that we're not necessarily.
I'm not gonna make. I kind of want to lean towards just clearing the city out, making it habitable
Right.
again, safe for the citizens, and just taking the city back. And then I want to appease Theogood by saying we need all the delirium out, and then at the same time throw a bone to Runeweaver by saying I won't commit to saying that we can keep delirium, but I would be open to you showing me the benefits of it.
Just remember that tens of thousands of imaginary lives depend on your decision.
I know, right?
Yes.
Right? Imaginary lives.
all the pressure.
All right.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
Alright. Okay, let's snap back in. Let's say that Theogood and Runeweaver are just like bickering back and forth, and you've like
While we've all done it aside.
yeah, like you're
Right.
like let's just say you did like let me talk to my team
Right.
real quick, and we're like bickering back and forth. Brandy is like rubbing the same spot. This is just like coming over here.
Quarter-inch of wood.
She just
worn
like
down.
cannot wait for you guys to fucking leave. Like she likes you guys, but she just wants you to leave. Dude. She doesn't know if like everything's gonna be like blood everywhere in a second. So, go ahead. I'll let you lead, Your Highness.
Okay. We've come to a decision that I hope is agreeable to both of you. Our main concern in the immediate future is to make the city habitable again for the citizens of Drakkenheim. And I believe we need the help of both of you to do that. Theogood, we need to get all the delirium out of the city. As of this point, we don't know of a way to destroy it fully yet.
Because finally, common sense prevails.
Yes. But we will need the Amethyst Academy's help in the removal and possible destruction if it proves that it needs to be destroyed. Eldrick, right? Is it Eldrick, not Eldritch?
Eldrick.
Eldrick. I will need to see the benefits of delirium if we are allowed to, going to keep it around. But in the meantime, I think it would be beneficial for the Amethyst Academy to assist in isolating it and quarantining it from the general population to keep the contamination away from as many people as possible. Do these terms seem agreeable to both of you?
I'll let you lead, Eldritch.
As always, we of the Amethyst Academy support the nobility of Westamar and your decision making and due process.
By assistance, do you mean actual assistance or just more trinkets from your gift shop?
Well, sir, although your attempts to goad me with your acts of jest fall on deaf ears, we have no gift shops. We operate in universities.
We have no gift shops. Oh god, that's great.
I'm just saying, for all that I know, the Amethyst Academy is capable of, we have yet to see meaningful cooperation from your end.
You turned your companions invisible to get them into that area, or did the academy provide that knowledge and resources?
Yes,
And have you not worked with the academy multiple times?
That was
be
obviously
provided before we knew you were even
at great risk to yourself, obviously.
Alright. Theogood steps forward and he goes, Your Grace, I understand that leading means you have to make hard choices. Sometimes they are choices that you wonder after you've made them if they were right. I fought in 3 wars, one being the Civil War here in Drakkenheim. I had to make a choice to fight for your aunt. She was a cruel woman, but I thought her goal was just. There are many times I wish I would have fought for your father, but I live with the choice that I made. If you make the choice in the long run to work with delirium, all I'll say is that when you make deals with the devil, sometimes, well, not sometimes, when you make deals with the devil, you can lose your soul. He goes, my troops will stay stationed here for now, but consider our relationship to be on thin ice. And Theogood turns, points at Flamekeeper Hannah, and says, you may return to your chapel. I'm going to return to Camp Dawn. And he storms out.
Try to catch his attention.
Yes, Lord Commander.
I understand that you and your troops are interested in Gate 4. Is that correct?
That is correct. Temple Gate, but yeah, go ahead.
So part of the Lantern's goal is to establish order, and those gates are critical in doing so. It helps to maintain traffic in and out to ensure that only the right people, our people, your people, are coming in and out of the city while trying to get rid of these creatures, of course. Would you be willing to cooperate with us, the Lanterns, on taking that gate and cohabitating that gate? In exchange, of course, you have access through our gate as the trade-off, but you maintain some control over that area. It's a very strategic point, and I believe it's close enough to your camp that it would help you. Is that not correct?
It is correct. You can tell he is frustrated, borderline angry at the final result. He knows you're not saying that you're definitely gonna permanently keep it, but he would have liked your decision. That's why Eldrick is fucking woo, you know, where he would have, we're gonna destroy it, we're gonna burn it, whatever. Since he didn't get that up, he is not happy. And he goes, you are by right the king's army, are you not?
That is correct. I have sworn fealty to the king and the crown, and his decisions are final, though he does take advice from, his council.
As of this moment, all joint military operations with the Lanterns and with the Order are on hold, as from the orders of the Knight Commander. He goes, if we want Temple Gate, we'll take it ourselves, and those dogs will wish they never mutated. And he turns around and he storms out.
Okay.
That is the exact opposite of how I wanted that to go.
It didn't say done.
Yeah.
It's tough being king, man.
Yeah.
Can't please everybody.
I really wanted to pull him aside.
And it could just be a heat of the moment thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell he's a quick to temper dude.
Because I'm more leaning on destroying it too, but we don't know how to do that, and I think the Amethyst Academy is the best way to get it out of the city. That's why I wanted to not alienate Eldrick.
No, I
as
get why you
well.
don't want to alienate
Yeah.
the Academy. They're very powerful. They have knowledge and powers
Yeah.
that the Silver Order just doesn't. Silver Order's the muscle.
Mhm.
Good.
The Academy's got the brains and the magic powers. You know, the Silver Order's got the men and the manpower. You know, it's a decision.
I'd like to definitively turn to Eldrick and ask just straight up, what can you offer?
Would you like to take over Eldrick at this point? I guess because I.
Oh, me? Yeah. No, I'll take him. Yeah. And thank you so much for doing that. He was doing those back and forths. Yeah, but yes, I will take over him and be like, what can I offer? I can offer the knowledge that the Academy has, and all of you should see this. He takes out of his robe, he takes out a crossbow, a hand crossbow, right? He goes, Your Grace, please stand back.
I'll step back.
He goes, Yourself, you can stand in front if you'd like.
Take just a little step back.
There is a piece of delirium that is cut to the iron part handle of this crossbow. He rubs it, and as he does, the crossbow explodes. Not like an explosion, but it forms out, and as it morphs in front of your eyes, it turns into a standing ballista.
Holy shit.
Right?
Well, I see we're on the right track of not weaponizing delirium.
He goes, These gifts are just, and he rubs it and puts it back in his pocket. Or he puts it back in its normal form. He hands it to you, and he goes, This is a small gift of what we can do at the Amethyst Academy. He goes, I look forward to working with you in our future endeavors.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that, I guess. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a
Yeah,
fucking
right.
moving fucking ballista. Yeah,
I just wasn't expecting him to just give it to me. I'll thank him, and I'll be. If we are to keep delirium around, we need more than just weaponized benefits from it.
You are a wise ruler, as was your uncle, and as was your father. He goes, I cannot show you here, but in a more secure location. I would like to show you some of the spells and potions that we have made with with delirium as a material component. Goes, would that interest you, Your Grace?
Yes, I would like to see that.
We might not have the brawn and the blades that the Silver Order has. We do, however, have many other things that can make us mighty in battle.
And have you figured out a way to control contamination from delirium? The side effects.
That is something we are working on. Sorry, couldn't.
You missed something.
Yeah, so him and Eldritch were talking, and Eldritch showed him a new weapon. He took out a hand crossbow. On the hilt, it had a piece of delirium in it. He pushed it, and the hand crossbow morphed into a gigantic ballista.
And they gave it to him.
And he gave it to him.
He gave it to me.
It's a ballista. Mm-hmm.
So what do I call that? Just like a hand crossbow ballista thing?
Yeah, call it a delirium
Hand ballista.
hand ballista. I love it. That'll work. They use that in the actual OG stream. I thought
That's
that was
pretty awesome.
fucking dope.
What's the die on that?
I'll go over the mechanics with you later.
Okay.
I'll text
That'll
it to you.
work.
So this item, it has no contamination to the user.
It has been contained by one of our smiths in the same fashion that I believe you have met the Iron Helms.
The dwarves, yes.
We have provided them some knowledge on how to infuse delirium into their cannons.
And we've seen the effects of that.
They are very effective.
Yes.
It is in the same breath, if not the same exact language.
So what materials are you able to use to contain this?
He goes, that is something at a more secure location, again, that I would be more able to talk with you in depth. I gotta go.
Okay. Yeah.
Well then, can I bring up Gate 1? Is that a place of interest to them? It would be close to your tower. We could cohabitate, and you can help us with research on some of the materials that we have involving aqua aspergo, if you're familiar with that or not.
Indeed, I would be intrigued. I've heard of Zadoth, the Troll King. He holds the gate. Trolls are interesting creatures, and there seems to be quite a few of them there from what our informants have heard. Again, at a more later date, at a more secure location, I would be very intrigued to discuss these matters in more detail.
Okay. Because my interest would be to potentially collaborate, take the gate, and cohabitate with you. We do not have the forces to man all the gates.
You will find that my temper is not as short as the Knight Commander's.
I hope that he will come back to the table at a later time, once he's had time to cool down and maybe have reason come back to him.
Or he can stay away.
And if you guys aren't the biggest fans of each other, you don't have to work together. But as long as we're all working under the crown, I have no qualms with either policies, I guess you implement. Your thoughts on delirium, their thoughts against it. I just want to see a successful Drakkenheim come back to fruition.
On that note, let's wrap it up, because I do gotta go.
Yeah.
All right.
Can we say we're taking a rest here?
Yeah, take a rest. You guys can make it back to the garrison if you want. We can talk about that out of game.
Yeah.
Andrew, okay, pause for the stream.
We never